I'm not setting any reading goals for the month of July. I'm just choosing a stack that resonates with me at the moment. I'm going to show you guys the books I recently got. It's just a mini haul, nothing too crazy. The first book I recently got is Do What Godmother Says by L.S. Stratton. The next book is about Until We Break by Matthew Dawkins. Now, I do remember a little bit about this book. When I read the synopsis, it's about a dancer who gets injured and she don't know if she'll be able to dance again. So she had to figure out how to live a life without dancing being the center of it. She met this guy who is a street artist who is making a way to become who he want to be without any interference or without any help. He's just pushing through. The next book is called The Chosen One by Echo Brown. This, I have no clue. I feel like I'm going to read this first, but I feel like this is such a good book for my nieces. I think they might like this, but I also don't think they read. That's the problem. Okay, the next book is called The Undead Truth of Us by Brittany Lewis. I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of these are Black authors except one. That'll be the very last book. The next book, you guys heard about this book, but Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Bayron. I'm excited to get into this. I heard mixed reviews about this book. One thing I've been stopping myself from doing lately is listening to other people's opinions about books, because I have noticed that sometimes they do have a little bit of sway of how I feel about a book, and I hate that. The next book is called Solely by Camille T. Dungy. I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to read this. That's a Black person on the cover, so duh. Next and the last book that I got is called The Vanishing Cherry Blossom Bookshop by Takuyo Sakuro. I think that's how you say it. Y'all, it was the cover that got me. I'm going to scan in my new books that I recently got. I am so proud of myself. I've decided that this year I will not be doing any reading goals for anything. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that. Like, I want to read this amount of books this year. I have not done any of that, and I will have to say I like this version of reading a lot better. And I won't say before it was like hard or anything, but I feel like I didn't really give myself time to really sit after I got done reading a book, and I'm noticing the difference. I read last month in June, I read one book for an entire week. I don't know if I've ever done that before, aside from when I was in school, but I've never just sat down and read one book for 1 week, and it felt so good, like rejuvenating for like reading. So I'm not going to say I'm going to continue on doing that all the time, but I am definitely going to do my best to make it a monthly thing. 1 week out of each month, just read one book for that week. Because once again, I just feel so good about it. I also feel like I had more time to sit and actually think about the book and think about, okay, because in the moment when you're reading a book, I feel like for me personally, my ratings can change, because when I sit and think, there's moments where I just think about, like, you know what, actually, I hated that. I hated that so much in this book. But when I read a book and then pick one up, I'm not sitting and thinking about it, because now I'm on to the next book. Which one you're in? That is literally so freaking good. I don't know what I did with this tea today, but it's hitting the spot. I'm doing a reread of the Work Husband series because I read the last 2 books in a series and didn't read the first 2. There's 4 books in a series. Then the next book is called The Janes, Janes, by B.M. Harden. Now, I didn't read anything. I don't know what this book is about. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I'm in a Facebook Black Girls Read. But she was saying that she wrote a new book and she wanted people to read it to give it, I guess, give reviews. So that's definitely one book I am going to be reading this month because I seen it last month and I just haven't gotten around to the book. Next book is called The Fifth Season. This is in the Broken Earth series. This is book number 1. This is by N.K. Jemisin. This book is a fantasy book. The next book that I am reading is Immortal Darkness. Y'all, I promise y'all, I thought I had this book, like, physical copy, and I cannot find it anywhere. Never lost a book in my life, so I'm not sure. I don't know if I actually bought it or if I didn't. I'm a little confused. Immortal Darkness. So those are the books on my Kindle. Now, for my physical TBR, the first one is Blood Like Magic. I've had this on my shelf for some time and I just have not picked it up. I was in a mood for a magic, like a fantasy book, but I'm in a mood for like more adult fantasy books. This is, I believe this is YA. The next one is The Art of Loving You by Natasha Bishop. Super excited to get into this. I might start this like this week. This next one also, The Summer Girlfriend by Christina Forrest. I know you guys have been seeing this book everywhere. I'm really excited to get into The Summer Girlfriend. This is actually the first book that we're going to be reading for sure. The next one is, I've had this on my TBR for a year now. I got it last year and I didn't read it, but I think this year is the year that we're going to read it. It does, the cover is so pretty. Like, it's so pretty. One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. I have a couple of her books on my shelf and I haven't read any of them yet. I think this is literally going to be the first book that I've read. Is it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first book I've read from this author. The next book is Every Summer After. Once again, this is by Carly Fortune. I've been saying I have a couple of her books. I do, but I haven't read any of them. So I also want to read this one. And then this book is called The Undead Truth of Us. I believe this is like a post-apocalyptic type book, like with zombies. I think she is the zombie. I'm not really sure. I'm looking forward to reading that. That does excite me. And then the last book that I have is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I've started reading this book and still haven't finished, but this is just going to be my early morning read. Like when I first wake up in the morning, this would be what I would be reading. I normally try to read a page or two. Sometimes I read more, just depends on how I'm feeling. But I have like my self-help books. I'll read little by little every morning until I finish that book or until I move on to another one. I will eventually come back to this one. And that is all of my books that I am going to be reading this month. I'm really in a mood for thrillers. I think it's because I'm seeing all the Summerween stuff where I'm just really getting into like that cozy, spooky feeling. Speaking of that, I think I might add one. If I do read anything spooky, like if I'm feeling anything right now, I'm gonna just add these to this month TBR. These have been on my TBRs multiple months, still haven't read them. The reason why I'm not this book cover scares the shit out of me, let me just say that. But I've been wanting to read this for some time now. I watched a movie and I absolutely loved it. I really the movie. I watched the show and I loved it. Perfectly Splendid. My battery died. I had to change it. Ugh. And then all my books fell. For right now, when I am in like the spooky type of feeling, these are the two books that I'm going to choose from just to read a little bit of them. And The Society for Soulless Girls and then The Haunting of Hill House. These would be my two books to choose from.